You've been saying to me for months, in fact years, that the dollars are all heading into this space. That's where the funds are going, and you know, there's really not much argument about that. That's where the dollars are heading. Erwin, for those viewers watching today thinking, okay, that's fine, but what about this stumble transition we've got here? How does the government get that renewable investment into our grids in a way that's going to see the benefits sooner rather than later?
Well, I think what is really important, and the government has accepted this recommendation from the Climate Change Authority just last week, is we actually develop sector by sector detailed plans about how we're going to make the transition. It's not just about electricity, it's about our industrial sources, it's about manufacturing, it's about transport, and having clarity on those plans is really important for investors. And it's not about unnecessary subsidies, it's about showing the direction of travel. So where do we want to be in 2035? Where do we want to be in 2050 for each of those sectors? And how governments are going to support, importantly, the communities that are going to be impacted by this transition. Because we all know that if communities are left behind, if communities aren't treated well in this transition, that's going to create political backlash, which will ultimately increase costs to the economy, because the transition will continue to be disorderly and not supported in a bipartisan way, which investors really need.
So what sort of big business is already sort of leading the way in terms of the response here? Because we sort of touched on it earlier, but give us a sense of how much of the corporate world is really leaning in and already leading on this front.
Well, part of the reason we're looking to and moving towards mandatory disclosures internationally is that it's a bit of a dog's breakfast. We do have some companies who are putting forward very robust disclosures, and those companies are attracting capital. They're getting the biggest funds in the world to support them through the transition. But what we're also seeing from a large number of companies also are some fairly spurious claims. Like there's a reason that Woodside and Santos got the worst climate change votes at their last shareholder meetings, because they don't have any details of their plans. They're relying on offsets, and they're sort of operating in this fantasy world where we continue to grow and export gas forever, which I think the global investment community knows is not the real scenario. So this is why mandatory disclosures are really important, because they actually provide a level playing field for everyone. They provide clarity on what needs to be reported and what doesn't. And let's be clear here, we're not asking fish and chip shop owners and others to do this. What we're looking for is where the real material risks are in the economy, identifying those and making sure that those are reported so that investors can manage that risk, invest in the opportunities, but also so that our financial regulators can help maintain financial stability.
Erwin Jackson, Director of Policy at the Investor Group on Climate Change. Thanks. Talk to you soon.